What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. This is going to be fun today. This is going to be mad fun. Uh, we're going to see. So let me discuss what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how football is a game of margins and fine lines, and that's how Liverpool marginally beat Manchester United 7-0. They were so lucky. If Liverpool did not score those 7 goals, I'm sure we would have beat them if we'd have scored first. So we're going to talk about how lucky Liverpool was to beat Manchester United just barely. They only scored 7. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about how Southampton like won despite Leeds' negativity. And after their loss to Grimsby in the FA Cup, they came back, they played a real team, and they got real points, and they're off the bottom. And hopefully this will be a continuation thing, and it won't be, but they only need to win a few games. If you win 5 games, you're safe, so you're good. We're gonna talk about Arsenal, like being resilient, and going down 2, but coming back. But they came back on a team that, did the same thing to Spurs. So there's that. We'll talk about Man City. They won, right? Yeah, they won. We'll talk about all the Premier League. And there's one more game tomorrow. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. My name is Ian Edwards. We have one guest right now. Maybe the others will join, or maybe I'll just go on a solo crying rant about the game earlier. We'll see. The possibilities are endless. So we have Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England, who's actually in America right now. What up, fam? Southampton fan.
I'm all good. Feeling a little bit better after obviously this weekend. But I mean, I felt secondhand pain watching that game with you earlier.
But did I look in pain though?
I couldn't tell. You were just like emotionless almost. Like you shut yourself down.
Yeah, I know how to shut it down, baby. Bury the pain. Yeah. Karate man bleeds on the inside.
Yeah. I was waiting for the score to try and get up to 9 because I was going to invite you into my support group for 9-0 survivors.
How dare you not invite me in despite it was only 7? Why does it have to get to 9?
Seven's minor shit.
Nah, man. Anything over 5 is like anything over 5 for a United fan is 9. It's that's how football math works. So I guess we'll talk about the most important game of the week first. That's Chelsea finally beating Leeds. Getting 3 points. No, I'm kidding. Let's talk about the Liverpool Man United match. And let's start. And these are all honest points, and these are all facts. Liverpool is lucky that Manchester United has been on such a good run, and we've been playing games 3.5 every 3.5 days. We play a game. Even when we played Newcastle last week in the League Cup final, we had played 10 more games than them. So Liverpool are lucky that we won the Carabao Cup and we have so many games under our feet, because we basically have the same issue that they've been suffering from all year. We're tired. This team with its new pieces and its old pieces have never been in this situation before with so many games this early in the season. So there's some growing pains there. So they're lucky. They're also lucky that we had an off game. They're also lucky that they had an on game. Like Gakpo was firing. They're lucky that fucking Darwin Núñez was worth his money. And they're lucky that Salah, broke the scoring record of Robbie Fowler and was on point today and played like old school Salah and like actually helped defend and dislodge some balls from our players and started counters and attacks on us. They're lucky that that Gakpo is worth the money. They're lucky that Darwin Núñez is worth the money. and that they've overcome all the criticism against them. And they're lucky that they have these two players that we wanted. So they're lucky about that. They're also lucky that United was due a loss. Like this was coming. We were going to lose something at some point. Like we weren't going to just keep winning the whole season. So they're lucky that the game was at Anfield and that the loss was to them. They're lucky that they played so beautifully after having such a very confusing season. And, you know, a lot of people are like, what's happening to Liverpool this year? And they look at the losses and they can't believe the losses. Well, this win to me is more believable for all the firepower Liverpool has than the losses. The losses that Liverpool has had and the points that they dropped have been confusing as shit. But this makes complete sense. When we spoke to Neil, he'd mentioned that Liverpool had actually been in a good vein of form, especially at home and in the Premier League, and that, you know, they're lucky that they played us at this time for them because they're on a good run. And, they're lucky that we beat them earlier this season so that they had that revenge factor and that they wanted, and they're lucky that they beat a quality team because they needed a quality win, especially after the Real Madrid loss embarrassment at home. And they needed like a score like this to them to clean their palate of that and to like reset them. So they're fucking lucky and congratulations to them. They did their thing. They squeezed us in the midfield in the beginning of the game. And this game was kind of a bizarro flip of our game versus Leicester, where like we had most of the possession but against the Leicester team in the first half, but then Leicester created some clear-cut better chances than us. And that's what happened in this game. They had most of the possession, they pressed us, they coughed the ball out of us, but we had the best chances in the first half, besides the one that Gakpo put in the back of the net. And after that, we came out in the second half, and they got the early goal. And just like I said, they were just firing in all cylinders. And they also got lucky that they broke our spirit by their hard work, broke our spirit. Because once they got to like third or fourth, like on the third one, Anthony lost the ball, didn't track back. And once the fourth one went in, like Bruno just switched off. He might have switched off before that, but definitely by the fourth one. And he's the captain. And once he switches off and the other players are looking at him, they're like, all right, our captain switch off. We're switching off too. So they're lucky that they scored enough goals to break our spirit, to turn off Bruno Fernandes, to turn off the rest of the team so that they could get 7 goals. And I mean, I'm sure there's other things that they got lucky with, but yeah, Liverpool, you won. Congrats. And great game plan. Your team fired on all the cylinders today. Hope you saved some goals for Real Madrid. If you played them midweek, you should have probably spent them all on United. 3-0 would have been fine. You could have had 4 goals that you need to take to Real Madrid with you. But let's see how you do there. What are your thoughts?
Similar, really. Like, it was an interesting game. Like, it didn't have 7-0 written on it, even at half time. Like you say, Liverpool came out first 15 minutes or so. I thought they were really high energy. They pinned you in your half. They pressed. They made you, like you say, they made you give the ball back to them. They forced you into mistakes, a loose pass.
Uh-oh, you froze. Are you still going?
Yeah, I think I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
Like Liverpool, like, you know, were suddenly on the back foot. You settled down, you started coming at them, you started creating chances. Anthony was looking lively, Rashford was looking lively, Bruno was doing stuff. You obviously had the set piece goal disallowed when Casemiro went offside. And I thought, you know, okay, we've got a game here. And then that goal from Gakpo, like, obviously dented you a little bit, but I think, you know, I was thinking, you know, we're going to see Ten Hag make some changes. Maybe just up a little bit, come out second half and like really get at them. And then that early goal from Darwin Núñez just killed you guys, it seemed. Like, all of a sudden, you're 1-0 down, you're still in the game, it's 2-0. And then heads seemed to start to drop a little bit. And then obviously as the goals went in, like you say, you just saw people give up. You saw people start walking. And I was kind of surprised by that, given how strong the mentality seemed at United under Ten Hag. These games happen and they're not fatal. As long as you bounce back, right? Which I hope you don't, because we're the next game.
Whoa, bro.
I'm scared we're going to get beaten now.
Hopefully. You don't need to win every game to survive. So,
No, we can't afford to give you that one. It's
you won't
interesting.
give it, we'll take it.
Oh no, I've just seen between now and playing us, you've got Betis in the Europa League. So hopefully you give Betis the wrath
to Betis, right?
And then we can maybe get something from you. I just had to check the fixtures, but yeah, I mean, it's going to show you what your players are made of now, how they bounce back from this. Because, like I say, 7-0 doesn't have to be fatal. You can write it off as a bad day. I think it probably was just that.
It's a tax write-off. It's a football tax write-off.
But yeah, I mean, I can't see it denting you too much. Like I say, you've got a lot of experience in your squad now, and I think those players they'll get everyone back on track this week. And Ten Hag as well. I think he'll do his work this week and get you back on track, and it will just be a blip.
You know what Liverpool was also lucky with? They were lucky with the way the ball bounced today. Literally. There are 3 goals where we tackled, dislodged the ball, and it bounced back to one of their players. And then we put a foot in, and then it bounced to one of their players. And then one of our players put a foot in, and it bounced back to them, and they put the ball in the back of it. There's 3 goals where there was this keystone mess going on of not being able to clear it, and the ball just bouncing to them. There's one that Darwin Núñez scored, a pass from Elliott. I give that goal to Elliott. He just used Darwin Núñez's forehead as a wall pass to put that ball in the back of the net. But there was good performances. Great for Firmino. He scored in his probably last Liverpool game at home versus United. So I've always liked him as a player, so good for him. Good for Salah for breaking the Robbie Fowler record. He's lucky that Robbie Fowler only scored that amount of goals, so then he only had to score this amount of goals to beat that record. So, good and lucky to Salah. And, Darwin Núñez, 2 goals. Gakpo, 2 goals. Hey, man, so goodbyes. Get your good goals for the good money that you spent for them. And what an idiot for the person that's flying that helicopter or plane with that anti-FSG group. Is that their group? Yeah, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but me and you were talking because you were in my living room watching it at the time. And it's what do the fans have against the SF? Are any fans happy with any of their ownership? Come on, Liverpool ownership from the outside looks like they're doing their thing and they're hustling and they spent money and they never leave the team hanging. And so I don't understand. If anybody understands what issue a fan could have with the Liverpool's ownership, let us know. Comment us. And we'll go back and forth. And we always like to learn more stuff about football. Is there anything else about this match?
Not really. Like I say, I think you got to hope it's just one you can write off as a bad day. And like you say, you're right. The ball was just bouncing sometimes for them. It was just a day when, especially second half, just everything that could go right for them went right for them, and everything that could go wrong for you guys went wrong for you. So you just have to, learn whatever you can from it and move on as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and we've had some crushing losses. There's an irony. This is like a bookend game because we started the season terribly. 2 losses in a row. We got bashed by 2 teams. You would assume we could beat. Liverpool was the 3rd game, and we used that game to turn around our season. And now they might have used this game to turn around theirs. Now they have a game in hand. They're only a few points behind Spurs, who are in fourth, and they could get into the top four. Like if the way they lined up today with Gakpo in the middle, Nunez on the left, Salah on the right, and if they could just, and then they have kind of a midfield thing coming up. Like they have the players, and today they played with that energy. And I know why, because Liverpool wanted to be the quality team, because they haven't. So this was their opportunity at Anfield. And I don't even think the fans at Anfield were that into the game. And it wasn't until, so I think the players really did this. I give the players, Liverpool players, props. Our guys, we've been playing the same guys a lot, and shit caught up. There was no other gear, and there was a part of the game when it's like, let's just let the time just run out, and we'll be back the next game. You could almost see that type of body language. But again, Liverpool is lucky that they scored the first 7 goals first, and that after every 90 minutes that the game is over and they don't wipe the slate clean and then start with another 90 minutes, because we would have beat them if that was the case. But they don't have the balls to play 2 90-minute games back to back. And so go home with your 1 90-minute and 7-goal win, whatever. What do you think we should talk about next, or who?
Game at the bottom, surely.
The game at the bottom. Southampton, yes. So did everybody at the bottom, before I ask you about the game, did everybody at the bottom get points this weekend? Or did somebody
not? So obviously Bournemouth had that last minute loss to Arsenal. So that's put them bottom now, because we've gone above them on goal difference. Everton drew with Forest. Leeds lost. West Ham, I think, lost.
Yeah, West Ham lost. They lost to Brighton.
Yeah, and Leicester lost, and Forest drew with Everton. So out of those bottom 7 teams, only 2 of them drew, and the rest all lost, and we won.
Right. I mean, listen, this is how crazy this is. If you have 21 points, if you had 6 more points, you would be 12th, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. And we kind of do this math every year, but you'd be 12th with 6 more points, which is still be like, you'd be having a disappointing season, but you would be looking at it from a completely different perspective. Or you may be looking at it as I don't know how, I can't speak for you or how the fans, but this is points margin ties. Like anything you could have done in any game to have gotten 6 more points, which is possible for any team in any direction during any point of the season. Yeah. And so are you still panicking? How does this win make you feel?
I mean, I'm still feeling pretty pessimistic, just because we haven't ever won back-to-back games in the league this year. This was our first home win since we beat Chelsea at home in August. So we haven't won at home since August. Like that's a long time ago. So I feel like there's maybe a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but it's small, and we need to put some results together and not just slip back into a losing streak again, because that's what will kill us. Like, it's these little nuggets of hope that keep killing me, because we then go back to being shit afterwards. Like we beat Chelsea, then we were just terrible against Leeds, terrible against Grimsby. At least the bad spell only lasted 1 league game, 1 cup game this time, and then we got a win again. So that's positive. But like you were saying about that points difference, like I do look back on some games, like every team has the games they regret, but we've had some real stinkers. Like when we were playing Wolves and we were 1-0 up against 10 men. And then we lost 2-1 to 10 men. Like those are the games that if we do go down, which I think we probably will still, those are the games we'll look back on and go, that's fucked us up there. But, we're still alive at the moment. The results have gone in our favour this weekend. So while there's still hope, hopefully the players keep fighting. And like you say, a couple of wins can really change the whole picture of the situation down there. The only thing that's given me hope is that there's some other teams down there that are really bad as well. because we've improved slightly, but a lot of those teams down there are just bad. So, if we can put some form together, we could leapfrog some of them. Based on the season so far, I think we deserve to go down.
Who do you think is bad?
Bournemouth, I think, are a terrible team. I know they sort of showed a little bit of fight against Arsenal on Saturday, but I think Everton are a very bad team. They're just a mishmash of parts that have been poorly put together by managers over the last few seasons, and obviously the board's a mess. So even though they got Dyche in and he turned them around, quickly in the first game or so, like they seem to have slipped back into their old ways, which means it might have been a new manager bounce. So yeah, I think Leeds are lacking in goals. They look a bit toothless as a team. So they could get that. West Ham, I think, could go down. Like they look devoid of confidence. I wasn't very impressed with Leicester against us. Like, I mean, if you lose away to us when we haven't won at home in 6 months, then that's a bad sign. But then they're a crazy team. Like the other week, they stuffed a whole bunch of goals past Spurs, and then they look like they could never. They look like they could have played for 3 hours and not scored against us. So
hilarious.
They're a strange team. Like Iniancho, he scored a goal against Spurs where he just picked up the ball on the edge of the box and just passed it into the corner like it was the easiest thing in the world. And then against us, he was blowing chances left, right, and centre. So
he refused to score against you guys, even when your goalkeeper passed in the ball and said, "Take a shot."
Yeah.
Like spotted him a goal. Like the assist was going to be goal Iheanacho, assist Southampton keeper, and still he refused to put the ball in the back of the net. So it was just, again, like this is the reverse of that day when you were up 1-0 versus who was that? Wolves. And if you do survive, you look at this game and Iheanacho not putting the ball in the back of the net when he could have, should have, and didn't. What do you? I feel like Nottingham Forest is going to stay up.
Yeah. I've been really surprised by them because when I saw them play us, which I think was early January, they were down near the bottom. We were down near the bottom. They beat us 1-0 with a goal that we sort of gave them, and they looked bad. They looked like a team that didn't really have any ideas. They looked poor. They looked like a team of championship players. But then that win against us seemed to spark something in them, and they've just gone on, a pretty good run of form. And yeah, like I see them staying up now. Like I say, I think Bournemouth are worse than them. I think Everton are worse than them. I think West Ham are worse than them. I think Leeds are worse than them. Based on yesterday, Leicester are worse than them, and they're better than us right now as well. So I think Forest have, it's crazy what Cooper's done there to flip that around. You can see where it's come from, though, where the points have come from, in that we've won the same amount of games as Forest. We've won the same amount of games as West Ham as well, but like Forest have drawn 8 games and we've drawn 3. So Forest have been able to squeeze those draws out against certain teams. That's given them, those extra points that have pushed them a little bit further clear. Whereas those games, instead of drawing them, we've gone and lost them. But it's weird that we've won 6 games, and which is more than Bournemouth, Everton, and Leeds, and the same as Forest and West Ham. So, yes, but we've also lost more than all those teams as well. So other teams have been squeaking draws out where we haven't.
Yeah, football math is always funny. I think one thing that Forest started to do, like Steve Cooper decided to stop playing like modern football and decided to like circle the wagons, defend, and then use his speed to counter. And you can get some draws and some wins that way. You're taking less risks, you're being pragmatic, and his mission is to keep them up. So I'll try all the fancy shit when I get more comfortable and they get more comfortable with this league. And they also spent the money to stay up. So they just definitely spent all their Premier League money to stay up. And I think he's also figuring out like who he should play, because they only them and Chelsea have so many players, but at least Bournemouth have had these players for a minute from the summer window. And even though they still got some players in the winter window, they've had their players longer, so they can be like, all right, let's stabilize this lineup. Let's go with these guys, and then if we need something from the other guys, then we use them. Like you don't see no Lingard no more starting. It's not even a question. It's like the young, hungry guys, or two hungry guys up front. Let me get their names, and one of them scored today. Really?
Brennan Johnson got two.
Brandon, yeah, and his father used to play for the club, right? Is he the kid whose father used to play for the club?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think his father used to play for the club, but he could be dangerous, and
I really like Morgan Gibbs-White there as well. He's a really good player.
I like him too. Those two are the light in this team, and no matter who they bought, these guys start, and they play. And those two guys are from the championship with them, right?
Yeah, correct. Oh no, Gibbs-White was at Wolves and Forest bought him in the summer. But yeah, Johnson had been there a minute. I'm just looking. Yeah, his dad, David Johnson, played for Forest for a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember his dad as well. He was a Jamaican international. His dad.
Oh shit,
David Johnson.
But
yeah, Brennan Johnson decided to play for Wales.
He's more Jamaican than Welsh. What the hell is wrong with him? All right, Brendan. I was just on your side, but you just got me off it. Good props to you. So Southampton beats Leicester. I feel like there's a lot of irony and a lot of disrespect and ungratefulness in that I watched the Southampton game with you in my living room. I cheered your team on, and your team won. So I was good luck for you. And then you watch the Man United versus Liverpool game with me in my living room, and that was not reciprocated. You were completely bad luck for my team. 7 goals were for bad luck. So yeah, I'm never watching a Man U game ever live with you again. I might not even watch a replay of a game that we won with you again. You're such bad luck.
I mean, I'm flying home Tuesday, but I'm going to fly back for the next Southampton game to watch it in your living room if it brings us luck. I'll even tell the club and see if they can cover my flights and tell them it's got to happen if they want to stay up.
Yeah, this is to stay up. You want that Premier League money? Hey, yeah. You know what? I'll even have you back here. I'll have a rate. Let me make some money out of this good luck I'm giving Southampton. So Arsenal versus Bournemouth, we kind of touched on it.
Insane game.
Say it again.
It's an insane game.
Is it though? I mean,
just for how it transpired. Like obviously,
right.
Bournemouth struggling down the bottom of the league, going 2-0 up against Arsenal, who seemed like they'd turned the corner and got this, title challenge back on track, and to go 2-0 down against Bournemouth, who for me are the worst team in the league.
I mean, they are, not just to you, but to the league. They are the worst in the league. They are now, bottom of the league. Yeah,
I can say that with justification now.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting watching it because obviously we were watching the Chelsea Leeds game live at yours with Martin, and obviously we were seeing the ticker in the corner saying like 1-0 Bournemouth. We're like, really? And then 2-0 Bournemouth, like what the fuck? And then we saw those Arsenal goals go in, and after the Chelsea Leeds game finished, the screen flipped to Arsenal Bournemouth, and with 6 minutes of injury time, and then we saw them miss a couple of chances and waste a couple of balls in the box. In that time, we're thinking that okay, maybe they're done. And then Bournemouth was time wasting a little bit with the goalkeeper and stuff, so that might have added some extra time on. But when that ball fell to Reece Nelson and he just smashed it into the corner, like you could see the scenes in the stadium, just everyone lost their minds. I've never heard the Emirates make a noise like that. I didn't realise Arsenal fans had that in them to make a noise like that.
I thought all Arsenal fans were mute before that, but apparently they all have tongues. Crazy. It's weird that they don't use it more often. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that moment because, first of all, shout out to Reece Nelson. You've been waiting a long time to be able to get in the game and join your childhood friends and add points and contribute to this team that you came up in. So you got a chance to do it. Not only that, you did it with such composure in a moment where people are running towards you, the way you took the ball down and you set your shot and use your technique and put it in the back of the net. Not an easy thing, especially when you know your time is limited and there's pressure to deliver in the minimal amount of time that you're given. So shout out to you. Also, shout out to the ref who gave Arsenal extra time. I was like, hey man, blow the whistle, bro. The time is up. And this went 2 minutes past the time it was supposed to about. So Arsenal, you get lucky with that. But like you said, Bournemouth was time wasting. And I really wanted to see Arsenal lose because I wanted to see Man City get closer. It would also keep them in range of us. But that didn't happen. Arsenal scored and they won and they showed resilience. I feel like it's easy for teams like Bournemouth to not to score on Arsenal because Arsenal's going to jump all over them. So then if they can get some quick counters and get a goal here and there, they could rattle Arsenal. But the thing about Arsenal, even when they're down, they're going to play the same way they played when the game was 0-0, and they have quality. And you give them time, and they have the confidence, and they have a lot of their subs back too, like Smith Rowe is there and Reece Nelson, and so they're trying to use more of their team. And I think you were telling me about the lineup at the beginning of the game, like Arsenal started. No, they started.
They had Vieira in midfield. They took Jorginho and Xhaka out.
Yeah. Who have started their last few games, but Partey was back, and Partey kind of messed up on one of the Bournemouth goals, but made up for it by scoring a goal. So yeah, so Arsenal probably might get better because they're starting to expand the people they use on their roster more and get more rest for more people. And you have to take the chance to do this, And then United has to do the same thing too. Like we're gonna have to use more people and take some chances. Even though it's coming towards the end of the season and you want to just have this set amount of people that you can trust, you can use. Just to buy some people some leg time, we might have to use some people. And Arteta has realized this, and he's done that in this game. So all right, well played. Awesome. Now you won 3-2. And you won this game. And there was a thought I didn't finish in the Man United game. I was talking about how this is the reverse of the Leicester game where we played Leicester. We had the ball, we dominated, but in the first half, they had the clear-cut chances, like better chances than us. But in the second half, we trousted them. Well, in the first half of the Liverpool-Man United game, Liverpool had the ball the most, but we got the better chances. And in the second half, they just trousted us. So, yeah, I mean, and the point is, we give teams chances. And we gave Liverpool but we normally don't pay for those chances. And we paid this time for Liverpool's chances because they have the quality. You don't get that type of quality, those type of chances, and you can't quit on a team like that. You want to go to Man City, Newcastle? I don't know, you're stuck.
Man City did their thing. They made it routine against Newcastle, really. Newcastle had a couple of little spells where they created chances, but for the most part, it was just typical City. Newcastle could have been a game where they slipped up, but they did their thing. And it's crazy that Arsenal were 5 points ahead of them, despite losing to them recently. City had to get a result here just to keep things moving, because obviously Arsenal were likely to beat Bournemouth. So even though they made hard work of it, City did their thing. No goals for Haaland, which disappointed me in fantasy football, but he got an assist, so I'll take that. Just showing off their squad strength. Obviously, you just throw Bernardo Silva into the game and he can go and score. Mahrez didn't play this game as well, so just typical City really in this one.
Yeah, and one person that really stood out for me, and he's a good player. This might be no surprise, like Rodri, like some of the shit that he was doing with the ball in the middle of
Mm.
the park, just getting it, turning around, finding people, and just his comfortability and his passing range. And I feel like he had the perfect game. I don't think they even considered him for man of the match, but for some reason, my eye caught him this game, and I was like, God damn, he was killing it in this game. And yeah, I'm just trying to. Foden hasn't started in a minute. They put him in, did his thing. I think did he get both goals? The second goal is probably more of an own goal than Rashford's own goal last weekend in the thing, but they gave it to him. I think they gave both goals to Foden. But Foden had a, like, I'm back. Let me in, coach, type of game. Start me. And De Bruyne had a decent game. Haaland had the assist. Gundogan was a master. Nathan Ake was balling his ass off. Walker had some very interesting. He had a pretty decent game and did his thing. And I'm just trying to see
Mm.
on Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle's. Listen, I wouldn't say Newcastle is falling off. They lost to the champs. They lost to us. They lost to United in the League Cup. We're above them in the table, and we beat them in the final. And then they lost now 2 games in a row when they lost this game to Man City. And then before that they were dropping points, but they weren't losing. So I'm not gonna write this Newcastle team off yet. They're just in one of those patches, and we'll see this the rest of the season to determine who they're really going to be and how long this patch is going to last. But respect to Newcastle, and they were at the Etihad, so hey, they're gonna have to make some buys in the summer and like to take the team to the next level, and they're gonna have to get rid of some people. And that's the part. Like I feel like Eddie Howe has made some of these players better players, but he's gone there. They can only take him so far. So we're gonna have to see if Eddie Howe has the cutthroat level of coaching that he's gonna need to take Newcastle to the next level. And that's where we're gonna see who he is and who they are based on those decisions coming this summer. And we watched the Chelsea Leeds. What do you think of the Chelsea Leeds? I was happy for Neil and the win.
Mm. Yeah, I mean they sort of controlled the game, Chelsea, but without looking like they were going to score a bunch of goals. That's still a problem for them. Like Havertz had that big chance where he got put through 1v1 and he tried to like lift it over the keeper and Meslier made the save. But I thought Chelsea were in control for the most part. But it will still be worrying for them that they, it took a set piece for them to score. Fofana got up really well though, really good header from him. His first goal, I think, for Chelsea, so that'll be good for him. And Chelsea were missing a few people as well, so the fact that they were able to go into this game and get the win takes a little bit of that pressure off Potter. But they've got Dortmund midweek in the Champions League, and I know Neil was saying previously that that's the one that's going to put him under real pressure if he loses that game. I think that Neil is talking about the fans rather than the board, because the board seem pretty confident that he's their man, kind of thing. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that gives them any confidence ahead of the Dortmund game. But like I say, it seemed like the same old Chelsea problems in that they weren't ever really going to score multiple goals in this game, and they looked a bit toothless still, even though they had Sterling, Havertz, and João Felix are good players individually, but they didn't really look that cohesive up front that they were going to take a bunch of chances. Although I do think Felix was a little bit unlucky with that one where the ball got cut back to him in the first half.
The post.
Yeah, it was such good technique to wrap his foot around the ball. But yeah, to see it come back out was yeah, it must have been frustrating for him. But yeah, just wasteful Chelsea.
Yeah, they hit the post a bunch of times, and it's just the typical story of Chelsea, like getting into the final third, creating chances, high XG, and then no goals. And yeah, so the irony that a defender scored for a team that bought so many forward and attacking players is pretty hilarious. But thank God he did, because before the game they were saying on USA that Potter has 2 games. He has to win this one and the next one in the Champions League, or else they're gonna fire him. I feel like if he wins the next 2 games, they're still gonna fire him, but they're gonna wait. Like, the only way for Potter to keep this job, like they you know, I don't think they're gonna fire him like before the season ends, unless shit gets really bad. But if it's like a win here, a loss here, a win here, a loss there, he's gone. He's gone. They have somebody on notice to pay attention to this team, get familiar with the roster, and depending on how Potter does at the end of the season, it's your job. So Potter, the only way for him to keep this job is to go on like a 10-game win streak, so that they can believe that, okay, now we know this guy can take us to the next level next season. But I don't trust a board full of billionaires to keep their word for nothing. Like, I know that it would cost them, what, 60 mil, Neil was saying?
I think it'll be less. I think there'll be a break clause in there somewhere. It won't be a full contract payout.
How much you figure? Like, what?
It'll be a season or two's worth of money, I reckon, or like the remainder of whatever season he's in plus 1 extra year.
So say 30 mil. What is 30 mil to billionaires? Nothing. Like, to us, regular people, it's everything. But to them, like, you think these people have never lost 30 million before? It's nothing. They'll get rid of this guy. So, Potter, I wish you luck, except when you play us. But because I like you and you're English, and I think you are a good coach, and I hope you level up to this level immediately, or you will be gone.
I'm gonna have to run in about 5 minutes.
I think that's all we kind of really got. Like,
I think shout out to Brighton as well for smashing up West Ham. That was a big result.
Yeah, and another fun result. Let's talk about the funnest result and then get out of here. Spurs. Spurs losing to, who did they lose? Is it Wolves?
Wolves, yeah.
Wolves, yeah. So it's just fun to see, because that game was being played while we were watching Chelsea, Leeds. So it was, yeah, you know, anytime Spurs loses, it's fun for us. And do you want to talk real quickly about I just want to ask you one question. How is it for you, based on the way football is shown in England, right? How is it for you? And I know you've been in America before and seen games, but I never asked you this. How is it to be able to watch games the way you are able to watch them here compared to how you're able to watch them in England?
It's nice. I quite like it, especially when it's not like crazy early. I don't enjoy, 5:30 a.m. starts, but the 3 p.m. games at 7 o'clock, I quite like that, waking up and being able to watch a bunch of football. That was pretty good. And then you get the rest of your day to, like, it felt quite weird that we watched like back-to-back live games and then we went to watch a live game straight after. Like, that was just a full day of football. We had like the Leeds Chelsea game followed by the Southampton Leicester game, and then obviously we went down to BMO Stadium for LAFC versus Portland Timbers, and that was full of goals, so that was a great day as well. It was a proper football day.
Yeah, I want to say shout out to Seth at LAFC for hooking us up. We came down, we saw the game, we got to see Chiellini, and Chiellini is a professional, a real fucking footballer. Like, he was the best player on the pitch for me. When he got the ball in the back, he looked to pass through the lines a lot and got the ball to some of the LAFC forwards or midfielders, even though they didn't always hold on to it, like he was just consistently just like at a really high level. Like he is who they thought he was. And I've seen him play twice, and he was the best player on the field every time. Like I've seen him. So he's just a real deal, and it's good to see that. And congrats to the LAFC for winning a match. They went up 3-1. And then there was a point where they were up 4-1. And
4-0. That was before the first Portland goal, yeah.
Oh, shit. So we still don't know why that goal was taken off. But then Timber came back, scored 2 goals, and it got touch and go towards the end. But LAFC held on. So it was great. Like you said, I woke up at 4 o'clock to watch the 4:30 game, then the 6:30 game, and then the 9:30 game, and then we went to watch. You joined me at the
6:30 game.
6:30 game, but then I went to we all went to see LAFC play, and then I dropped you guys home, and then I went to the Comedy Store to watch the Chris Rock special, which was half broadcast from there and half broadcast from Baltimore. So I had a full ass day, man. That was like the 2 things I love the most: stand up.
And then you were back up this morning
soccer.
to watch your team.
Yeah, man. And I woke up this morning in time to watch Liverpool get lucky. And can I say it again? Get lucky to score 7 goals before we were able to score 1. And that's the only reason why you won against Liverpool. And I stand by that. All right, but thanks, man. It's great having you out here. It's a quick week, but I hope it was fun for you too. We did the podcast in the studio, and yeah, good shit, man.
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right, for sure. Yeah, let me know if Southampton ever needs a win. And if you're listening, I'll be at the Bell House in Brooklyn, March 9th. That is this Thursday. I got one show at 7:30 p.m. So pull up, New York, come through. I got a hot 45 minutes, an hour. And, yeah, would love to, people come out and check it out. You got any thing you want to end with?
No, just follow me on the socials, Lee Hudson Comedy on Instagram. And just people go see your show on Thursday. I got to see a bit of your set the other night in the OR at the Comedy Store. It's fucking great. So yeah, people need to get out and watch that. Yeah, and Lee is out here killing people in battles. He comes flying over to America and catching bodies on stage, and then going back to England, leaving chalk marks out here. So good shit in the roast battle on Tuesday. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on those platforms where you can star and rate, please do that. And have you got any questions or comments? Hit us up on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Peace, love. Everybody take care of yourself. One. Boom. So that was